All right, good afternoon, Patriots. Thank you for joining Live Border News. And I have a couple special guests today, my good friend Tina Peters and my good friend Stephen Thomas with Loaded Gun Coffee out of Lake Havasu, Arizona, going to be joining us here today. And just give me a couple minutes and I'll be right with you guys.
Side of this one church town, there's a gold dirt road to a whole lot of nothing. Got a deed to the land, but it ain't my ground. This is God's country. We pray for rain and thank Him when it's falling, 'cause it brings a grain and a little bit of money. We put it back in the plate, I guess that's why they call it God's country. I saw the light in a sunrise, sitting back in the 40 muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shouting with the dogs running. Say, say, Dixie whistle in the wind, get your head and down. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country. We turn the dirt and work until the week's done. We take a break and break bread on Sunday, then do it all again, 'cause we're proud to be from God's country. Sunrise, sitting back in the 40 on Muddy Riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shouting with the dogs running. Say, Dixie whistle in the wind, get your head and down. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country. Care what my headstone reads or what kind of pine wood box I end up in. When it's my time, lay me 6 feet deep in God's country. Sunlight sitting back in the 40 on the Muddy Riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shouting with the dogs running. Say, she was on it. Devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is
All right, guys, I'm back. So today I've got a special guest live with us, Tina Peters, and also have a special guest, Stephen Thomas, both good friends of mine. And I'm going to bring them live here now.
Hi, Jonathan.
Oh, good afternoon, Tina.
Thank you for all you do to expose the corruption trying to take down our country. And boy, it's a full-time job, my friend.
You know, Tina, it's an honor to call myself your friend. I appreciate all your dedication and the hard work you've been doing out here in the field, and just all the work you've been trying to just do in fighting against the government and the corrupt system as we know it is nonstop.
Yeah.
And you know,
we don't have a day off. No, we don't.
I'd like for you to share today, Tina, what you're going through right now with your case and what you are allowed to share. Let me rephrase that, and what they're doing to try to stop you.
Well, you know, it's interesting that I'm accused of being an election denier, even though Mesa County Report 1, 2, and 3 and the evidence of fraud none of it has been disproven. As a matter of fact, the more they find out that it is true. Nevertheless, the Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, she's still on the attack to influence people to believe that I actually committed a crime when in actuality, nothing that I was indicted for has anything to do with breaching the election system, of which I was the guardian of in my county. And it's interesting because if you look back on this woman, and she's been even tweeting today, attacking me and threatening me. She just tried to um, keep Trump off the ballot, said that there were Republicans that actually wanted to keep Trump off the ballot, when in fact, I mean, there's so much to unpack here, Jonathan, when in fact the one of the so-called Republicans, and don't we know that it's not about Democrat and Republican? This is a God versus Satan. This is a good versus evil globalist elite that tries to keep us thinking that it's Democrat and Republican. So we'll keep fighting with each other, but they're on both sides. But this started way back when I first became clerk, and I actually ran for clerk after being a business owner for over 3 decades, to shorten the wait times from 3.5 hours. If you can imagine, if you've ever waited in line in the motor vehicle department, it
Oh, yeah.
was 3.5 hours in our county. And I said, and I'd already become, I'd never been involved in politics before, Jonathan. I'd already decided in 2016 that we couldn't let that woman, and you know who I'm talking about, I mean, the bleach bit queen, into office. And so I went to a volunteer meeting. I was one of 8 people. And I said, oh my gosh, I thought there were people that were doing this politicking stuff, you know, and that's when I realized that it's we, the people. So
Oh,
that's how it all
absolutely.
started with me. Yeah.
Tina, you're a gold star mom. I mean, everything you have been through, the loss of your son. I mean, my heart goes out to you.
Thank
And
you.
and then the battle you're in now with the government and the corruption that the government is constantly doing every day. I can only imagine the anger, the frustration, let alone the heartache from losing your son and everything else. I can't even imagine what you're going through
It,
emotionally and mentally.
I always say, what God brings you to, he'll see you through. I thought I was running for the Mesa County clerk in Colorado, in Grand Junction, Colorado, for to shorten wait times, but God had a different plan. It was in 2016 when I was recovering from lung cancer. I'd been a flight attendant. I'd been on those planes when there were tubes of smoke. I told God, I said, hey, if this is it for me, I'm okay with it. I said, but you know my prayer. And I repeated my prayer that people have heard me say often: don't let me leave this earth until I've accomplished everything that you sent me here to do. And I knew at that split second, Jonathan, I mean, at that very moment, because I didn't know whether I was going to live or die. I decided I wasn't going to do chemo, wasn't going to do radiation, wasn't going to poison my body like that, or what I felt was poisoning my body. And at that split second, I knew I was going to live. I knew I was going to live, that
Amen.
God was not done with me yet. And I told my son, who was a Navy SEAL, and I said, honey, I said, I think I'm going to run for office. This is after I recovered, decided, I wanted to give back, went to that meeting where I was one of 8 people, walked my feet off for Trump, uh, and just loved on the people, just loved, didn't matter if they were Democrat, Republican, unaffiliated, if they voted, hadn't voted. I just wanted to hear what they had to say. I would say, hey, I'm Tina Peters. I'm just a volunteer. How do you feel about the election? And people just wanted to be heard, Jonathan. They wanted to know that their voice was important. And so when I told my son that I was thinking of running for office, he said, Mom, you've got this. He said, the only thing is, you'll probably do more than what is required. And I had no idea back then what that would mean. And then after he died tragically a month before I won the primary for office. And in his SEAL Team 6 paperwork, because that's where he was headed, it said, describe your mother. And he said 3 words: she fixes things.
Amen.
And, God has prepared each one of us for the path. He's prepared you, Jonathan, for what you're doing to expose what's happening on our border. And every single person out there, some of them haven't taken up their charge yet. Many are called, but few are chosen. And many have not accepted the call to enter into this army of patriots
Yeah.
yet.
Well, Tina, like I've got Stephen Thomas here. I'm going to bring him in too, because for him to be able to hear everything.
Hi, Steve.
Good afternoon, Steve. And for the
Hey, can
audience
you
who
hear
don't
me?
know you, this is Stephen Thomas,
There we
Motive
go.
Coffee,
Mhm.
and he
Hi,
works.
Tina. How are you?
Hey, Steve. It's good to see you. I'm going to get down to your
Likewise.
neck of the woods. It's beautiful down there here soon.
Good. It is beautiful here.
So Tina, back to everything you've been going through. We've been to several events together. The one in Las Vegas with Mike Lindell and everybody. The one out in San Diego. And just to see the strength and courage that you have, despite everything you're going through, you're one hell of a fighter. Excuse my mouth today, but you are. You fight to no end. I wish we had another 1,000 people just like you.
They're out there. They're out there. They just need to recognize that's who they are. They haven't, and that's what the left is so afraid of, or I shouldn't even say the left. That's what the enemy of our country is so afraid of, guys, is that people will recognize the power that they have within them, that God has put within them for such a time as this, and they'll come to recognize it and stand up. And that's why they have to keep us, you know, down with fear and mandates and fear of speaking out like they did with the J6, and now that's all turning around because God doesn't let the truth not come out.
Amen. I couldn't agree more. What can the American people right now do to help support you and to work with you through all this?
Thank you. I'm very grateful that you would offer that. Some people are meant to actually get involved in the fight, like Jonathan and Stephen and I. Some people are meant to support it financially. I would ask that you would go to my website, tinapeters.us, and there you can donate to my legal fund. It goes into a trust. And that's to pay my legal expenses, which are very expensive. I mean, not only do I have the trial coming up February 7th, I have another lawsuit that I'm bringing against, that I've brought against the DA and Jenna Griswold and Merrick Garland for violating my First and 14th Amendment. The right for all of us to redress our government with our concerns. And that's all I was doing with the election. That's all I was doing, was saying, hey, something's not right here. You need to look at this. And Mesa County Report 1, 2, and 3 are perfect, are proof of that. So people can go on there if they want to give personally. There is a givesendgo.com/Tina Peters. So I really appreciate that. I will not give up. I will not back down. I've been given several opportunities to give up, to back down. Jenna Griswold offered if I would just recant, repudiate, and renounce what I said on Facebook Live, that these machines needed to be more transparent and not be allowed to do what they're designed to do. If I would have recanted that, then it could have stopped everything. And I said no. And when I didn't do that, she went to a judge and had me illegally removed from office. Do you know that you can't remove an elected official except for by a recall by the people that elected them? So many things have been done illegally. And I would appreciate the support. Thank you so much for offering that.
Well, Tina, this Janet Griswold, if I'm saying that right?
Jenna.
I'm asking all the viewers out there today to go to her Twitter and look what she just recently tweeted about Tina Peters. I read through it all today and just could not believe the crap that I'm reading. And Tina, again, for you not to surrender when you could very easily pleaded this out, and for you to fight to no end because of your beliefs and where you stand. And why would you ever admit guilt if you're not guilty? And that's one of the things I point out to everybody. If you know you're in the right, I would rather go do 5 years in prison fighting for my beliefs and knowing what I'm doing right versus surrendering to the enemy.
That's right. That's right.
And
Do you know, if you look back at her, this is not just some new Secretary of State that just came on board that is attacking me relentlessly. She moved to Washington, D.C. in 2011 and worked for President Barack Obama's 2012 campaign. Listen to this, as the voter protection attorney. And then in 2013, Governor John Hickenlooper appointed her to be his liaison to the federal government. So this is someone, if you look at her, campaign finance, you'll see George Soros has donated to her. You'll also recognize that she is the chairwoman of the Democrat Association of Secretaries of State, and their main goal is to put in other Democrats, so Secretary of State. So you'll also see on there, you'll see Katie Hobbs, you'll see Jocelyn Benson, and in Michigan, you'll, all these people that, I mean, I was on that Twitter that you were just referring to. Adrian Fontes is actually remarking on there. Here we have the cabal, what is the who is it? The criminals on the other side.
I know
who is it, Stephen?
The cartels.
The cartel. I mean, here you've got the attorney for the cartels.
Yep, the ones we deal with every day.
So tell me about that. I mean, these people are so intertwined, and it's like an incestuous group it's
well, Tina, I'm glad you asked about that, because I can tell you a lot about that. Here we got Katie Hobbs. They got done declaring the cartel as being terrorist. Katie Hobbs went right in behind it and vetoed it. I mean, they call her Cartel Hobbs for a reason. I mean, cartel, as far as I'm concerned, has her bought and paid for 100%. And, that's one of the things we keep telling everybody. Nobody comes through the border wall without going through the cartel and paying their dues or whatever. So, I mean, and just you look at the country and the corruptness that we have here going on, especially here in Arizona, Texas, and on top of the corrupt government that goes after fighters like you, me, they do everything they can to silence us. I've even got Facebook left and right trying to say certain things are inappropriate. So you got to click this extra link to say you agree to go look at it, like a bunch of illegals in the trunk of a car. But yet, here you got a bunch of gay right people fighting out there, sitting there showing you know what things right there, right in front of children, and Facebook allows that. So we've got a battle on our hands, and your battle is nothing compared to ours. I mean, your legal battles right now. These people should be charged for treason, for crimes. Yes. They're the ones that's interfered in this election. We know this. We've got, we have the evidence behind it. You've had the evidence, Anybody with a brain can see it clear as day. We've got some states coming back now saying, well, we do realize there was election fraud in the 2020 election. The same ones that claimed up and down that Donald Trump was nuts. And now it's coming out.
And more is to come. More is to come. And I want to, since you brought up, Katie Hobbs, and you brought up the funding and that sort of thing. When 2 days after the Biden administration refused to let out the J. Alex Halderman report, which exposed, it was so damaging to the ability of the machines and these vendors that they sealed it. And I said on February 14th of 2022, I said, that's it. That's it. I'm the only one that can do this. I'm going to run to the belly of the beast. against Jenna Griswold for Secretary of State. And guess who my opponent was? My opponent, Pam Anderson, whose mother, by the way, is the one on the lawsuit that just tried to keep Trump off the ballot, who both of these women claim to be Republicans. That's why I'm saying this is not Democrat and Republican. These are evil people, period, on both sides. She was and is, I assume still, the secretary. There's only one secretary of this organization and one of the 5 directors of Center for Tech and Civic Life that Michael Gableman, who was the Supreme Court Justice in Wisconsin, outed as the organization that Mark Zuckerberg funneled $470 million through, that and CEIR, to defeat another 70 million, I think, went through SEER to defeat Donald Trump. 96% went to counties Biden won, $470 million. And people were supposed to believe this was a true candidate in the Republican primary. So we saw in real time on the night, even the mainstream media, guys, had already said, we know you've won. You're 47% up in the polls in a 3-way race. You were 62% at the GOP convention. We know you've won. So what are you going to do as Secretary of State? The night of the election, we saw the Mesa County Report number 3 flip. And that has been going on all over the country. Wow. And this woman, who was supposedly was the opponent of Jenna Griswold, stepped aside and never campaigned after that so that Jenna Griswold could get in again as Secretary of State. So these are people that are play acting. These are people that are, and then accusing anyone out there that will go against their narrative. So once again, I just want to say all the things that she's saying, that I'm the big lie and all of this, and that I breached my county's computer system, is all a lie. If you read the indictment against me by the DA, they're very careful not to bring in anything about election computers. So, it's a concerted effort.
And we know where the fraud was at.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, Tina. That's why I'm saying everything you've been going through, my hat's off to you for exposing the corruption. And I thank you. I mean, just you're getting it out there for America to see, says volumes about who you are.
Well, thank you. I couldn't do it with other patriots out there holding me up. That's my family now. They've taken my husband. The article that just came out in the Capital Times magazine, it came out yesterday. And if people want to go there, it's on Amazon. I don't know if you have a graphic you can put up for people to see.
I actually shared it live on my Facebook as well.
Okay. That tells my story, and it shows how the links that they're willing to go to persecute and prosecute an innocent person just because I exposed their fraud, just because I exposed their criminal activity. And some of the fallout from that has been my husband. My husband, I saw him a couple days before I left for the symposium back in 2021, August of 2021. And I had not seen him again since just recently. And you'll see in that article sorry if I get a little emotional. You'll see in that article that what he looked like 5 months before they took him and what he looks like now. And I was actually escorted out by a woman named Chantel at the VA Heroes Home in Little Rock, Arkansas, because the brother believed the big lie, and the sister, who have never come to see us in Colorado in 3 decades, and who took him out of that facility that I visited him, talked to him many, many times every day, and took him out. You'll see in that picture in the article, us out at a restaurant 5 months before they took him,
Right.
and what he looks like now. Now these are criminals that don't have any, and they utilize people, like in this case, his family, and they benefit financially. I had worked 6 years to get him 100% disability from 2010 to 2016 because he has Parkinson's.
I'm going to try to show this. I just tried to share it, and for some reason my link's not doing it. But I'm going to see if people can see that. It's right there live on my Facebook right now. And you can scroll down a couple posts that I've done right below the Border Patrol post. And I recommend everybody to purchase this and read up on it. And this is outstanding right here, Tina. Everything I've read.
And I don't make a penny from that magazine, but it does get the story out for people to see the links they'll go to. But it also is a testimony of how God, whatever God brings you to, he'll see you through. You don't have to be afraid to get involved in that, but that's what they're hoping. They're hoping that the people out there will be fearful, because just like some of the clerks across the country, they don't want to be Tina Petered. I'm a verb now. And, you can't be afraid if more and more people.
That's better than a pronoun, sorry.
That's right. Well, yeah, I like that, Stephen.
Yeah. But and that's the thing. I mean, you look at all the corruption, you look at what you've been through, but yet you're out there daily fighting. You're going to these events, speaking out. I don't know where you get all this energy from, but share a little extra my way, because there's days we just feel completely emotionally drained.
It's interesting. I very rarely have a down day. If I have one day that's down, I allow myself to be there for a day, and then the next morning I go, okay, putting the big girl panties back up and on, and putting the sippy cup down, and we're getting back to work, because our life is but a vapor on this earth.
Right.
And
well, Stephen Thomas here, me and him, we're going down to Cochise County on Sunday. We're meeting with Sheriff Mark Daniels. We're going to be having Senator Phil Hart from Idaho with us, and a couple other senators. And we're going to be exposing Cochise County next of all the corruption. The sheriff has absolutely had it with the cartel coming through, the amount of illegals coming in, as well as the ranchers. I mean, they've been slaughtering their cattle left and right down there. And Border Patrol has been taking busload after busload right into his city there. When they questioned the Border Patrol, they just said, we don't have a choice but to drop them off. We're just following orders. So we did a good job down in the Tucson sector in Sasebe. We put enough pressure on them down there that they've actually put Trump's wall back in place. So now Cochise County's next, and we're going to be fighting to get that done.
What's interesting about all that, Jonathan, is that I see the elections, or in this case, the selections, as the root cause of all this. This is putting these criminals in office, selecting them to be in office that, in effect, make these policies like the open borders, like the, not letting these criminals in, this human trafficking going on, war. We wouldn't be in a war if Donald Trump was still our president, and the insecurity of our military and all that. So I really feel that we've got to get rid of the machines and take our country back. And
amen.
You
guys. I know some states are pushing a lot of illegals to vote for presidential elections now, and I know California is one of them.
Yeah.
And we know that's their agenda for why they're trying to push in so many of them. On top of that, with the children being trafficked in, they're not monitoring who these children are or anything. We have learned that they've been using a lot of children for human harvesting for the organs. I mean, just the amount of corruption that we have witnessed and seen and that we're exposing is out of this world. And, I would like to see you, Tina, once you get through all this crap that you've been having to deal with, I'd like to see you run for governor. I think you should.
we'll see what God thinks about that
We'll
because,
definitely put that in prayer.
you know,
Because
I will.
yeah,
Then
you guys need a fighter out there in your state that's going to fight to no end. That's not going to back down from anybody, and I think you would be the one to do the job.
Thank you. You know, it's interesting when you find people, and there's people out there that are not motivated by money, power, or position. That's when you know you have someone that is not going to be that's not going to succumb to all these things that people once they are elected do.
Right.
And I remember I'm part of America First Coalition for candidates all across the country, so we were able to see in real time by comparing our stories with each other. And sometimes our meetings go for 6 hours because they're so rich. But
Right.
we were able to see that these a lot of these candidates were told, if you just don't say anything about elections, we'll get you over the finish line.
Yep.
And I have proof of which ones, some of the ones that did not say anything and still will not say anything about elections. But here's the thing is once you compromise, they have you. So you
That's it.
cannot compromise, you know, and truth will win out.
Well, you know, it's funny you said all that because I've actually had some people asking me to run for Senate out here in Arizona or Congress. They said, you know, Alexander, you're down there on the border all the time. You don't do this for the money because you're not paid for your work, but you're getting
Right?
this out to the American people. You obviously love and care about America. And you know, I agree. It takes people like me that's going to take office, that's going to fight, that's not there for the money, but they're there for this country.
That's right.
But at the same time, it's like, well, if I run for Senate or Congress or something and I happen to win, you know, how's this news going to get out there to the rest of America and someone that's going to fight these people down there at the border as well?
You got to duplicate yourself. That's why we need everybody out there listening to this broadcast to step up, support Jonathan, support Stephen, support me and others that are out there on the front lines. We need, you know, if we're going to take this country back, when we take this country back, let me just put it that way. And I'll tell you something that Trump said to me, that was our President Trump said to me, that was so encouraging. He said, Tina, when this is all over, that's the part that that is indelible in my brain. When
Right.
this is all over, it's not what I'm getting ready to say next. When this is all over, you will be a hero. You are a hero. And to me, I know there are forces that are working to bring about the truth. And Jonathan, you know, we need people, if we're going to take back our government, we need people involved now that are learning. Go out and learn how your city council works. Go out and learn how your commissioners and your elections work. You know, get yourself prepared. This is a preparation for Americans to take back our country so that you can fill those slots. And so I can see that, Jonathan. I can see you doing that.
Yeah.
And,
You know,
and
people need to be asking these people running for office important questions.
mhm,
Get to know them. But not only that, one of the things I do, because out in Idaho, for example, here about 4 years ago, I interviewed everybody that was running for governor, for lieutenant governor, and the whole 9 yards. They actually had me doing the interviewing because they knew I'd ask the tough questions. And so what did I do? I had the Constitution book in my hand without
mhm,
them seeing it. Well, actually, my back pocket, and I started throwing questions out at them about the Constitution. Well, do you understand what Article 4, Section 4 says, or whatever I want to throw out there? And they would turn around and go, "Well, I got to be honest, I've never really read the Constitution." And it's like, well, how do you think you're going to do your job in Congress or as a
right.
Senate if you don't even understand the Constitution of what our laws of the land really are and what your rights are? And so I turn around this one guy, he was a veteran. You know, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's a heck of a veteran. But he was running for Congress, but he did not understand the Constitution. He understood the oath that he gave. He understood that very well, but he didn't know the Constitution. And I'll say his first name. His name was Nick. And I turned around and said, Nick, until you understand this inside and out, I said, you should not be running.
Yeah.
You got to understand how you're going to fight for the American people
That's
and the
right.
laws of the land to support it.
I carry
And
one with me all the time.
so later, he sat
Yeah.
down with me and he says, "You know, Alexander, I've got to be honest. I was really angry at you for calling me out like that." He goes, "But thank you. I'm dropping out of the race." He goes,
Mm.
"You're right. I have no business running until I've gone through this and understand every last part of it."
Yeah.
So, but again, it takes fighters like that that's going to get involved, people that's going to ask the right questions. Because again, if you don't understand the Constitution, how in the hell do you know what you're fighting for
That's
America?
right. That's right. How do you know what your rights are? Because they're trying to do away with the Constitution. They're trying to implement, when I say they, I mean the global elites are trying to get rid of our Constitution because that's what gives us our sovereignty and our freedom.
Amen.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And those are unalienable rights. That means that we cannot be separated from them. They are not given to us by government. They're given to us by God. And so people need to understand. And also the Declaration of Independence. I tell people, I say, just read the Declaration of Independence and put in, instead of where it says king, put in the Biden administration and see how similar all that is, where they
Yep,
changed laws, where they invaded our borders, and all of that's in there. If
exactly.
nothing's changed under the sun.
Tina, I would like to bring Stephen into this conversation real quick. He's been one of my sponsors as well as working with me on the border at the same time. Um, and Steve, you've got quite the history, buddy. Your family has quite the history, and I'd like for you to share that with all of America.
Okay. Thank you, Jonathan and Tina, both you guys. I appreciate the work you guys put out. We need a lot more patriots like you guys to fight this fight. It is a fight. I want to just make a couple comments on Tina, what you just had said about God has a plan for everybody. Just gotta find it, I guess. Kind of paraphrasing you there. And that happened to me with Jonathan. I had seen some of Jonathan's videos a couple years back on Telegram, I believe. And I have a very big place in my heart for what he's doing with this border. This child trafficking, human trafficking, this drug trafficking's got to stop. It is not right. And so I saw him on one of his videos, and I reached out to him a couple times. Probably could have been a little more aggressive about it, and I just couldn't catch up to him. And then one evening, I'm talking with my wife, and told her I was going to go to the Republican men's breakfast meeting the next morning, which I don't do those clubs. It's just not in me. I've been asked, like Jonathan, to run for political offices by our local community, but that's not in me either. So I go to this breakfast meeting, and the guest speaker is Jonathan. And so, God put us together, in my opinion, there. And so I've
You got
been
to keep in
working with
mind,
him ever since.
I was actually from Idaho, Tina, and then ended up
Yeah.
out here in Arizona, and that's how we finally hooked up.
Yeah.
Ahead, Steve.
So we met, and I only live 150 miles from the border. I've lived here for about 30 years now, and I've known this was going to happen sometime or another in my lifetime about this border stuff, and we're right in the middle of it now.
Mm-hmm.
So we've taken our platform, my wife and I. We've been in the coffee industry for 10 years, and we wanted to help support Jonathan and others with this fight that we're in. And so we've been able to take our platform. We created this new brand, our Loaded Gun Coffee brand, wherever it's at up here, up there. And during our research, we decided to pay tribute to our family members that are veterans. And what came out of all of that really surprised me a lot is I've got 19 family members over here on this right here. There we go. Then this isn't all of them. This is 19 members that my wife and I chose to put on this list of our direct family members that are all veterans. And as they say, all gave some gave all. And I have a couple of 4 Purple Hearts in our family. Nothing what you've gone through, Tina. I'm feel for you and having to lose your child. Something no parent wants to go through. It's terrible. So, anyways, we decided to pay tribute to our family in this manner. And what I didn't realize, as a veteran myself, I was in the United States Army. I knew about my family. I just didn't know the details about all this stuff. And as one of my brothers and sister has helped me with all this information, discovered the stories behind these guys and women. There's women here too. And boy, was I surprised and very sad I didn't get the opportunity to talk to my family members and ask them more questions about stuff they went through to protect our Constitution for our freedom. And so that's what we're doing. We're trying to just help financially to support this cause any way that we can do. So
that's wonderful. I wanted to chime in on that. I just recently became aware that there is a movement to help the veterans out there that were forced to take the jab. And I worked 6 long years to get my husband 100% disability because he was exposed to Agent Orange in Vietnam. And, you look at these veterans, you look at these people that were hoodwinked into taking the jab that are now suffering. And there's a movement out there right now to get them compensated for all the awful things that are being done or to their health because of the jab. And so, we do need to shine more light on our veterans and for those that have gone before us, many of them have shed their blood to protect our freedoms. And, I think that this younger generation needs to understand that freedom is not free. It's like the slow boil of the frog. You don't understand how far. I mean, I'm almost 70 and I can see in my lifetime, and I believe that people have taken this for granted, but I was only in jail for 36 hours, but that was enough for me to understand that when your liberties are taken from you, they are taken from you. And I can't even imagine over 1,000 days in prison like our J6ers. It's a travesty. And everybody should be incensed and be standing up and be visible.
Tina, most of these
Absolutely.
guys are still incarcerated without charges being brought against them.
Yeah.
That's even more disturbing.
Unbelievable what's taking place.
They are going to get recompensed. I believe in my heart that they have been serving this country in that capacity of a prisoner of war. And I believe that they will, and their families will be recompensed for what they have gone through for all of this.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate, I'm so sad at those that gave up and committed suicide because of the just because of the threats against them by a government that's supposed, the government, their main job. The government's not supposed to get involved in your personal life like they are. Their main job is to protect the citizens. But instead, they have turned against, and they are the ones harming the citizens, which shows you it's a coup. They're not our real government.
Well, I've talked to a lot.
Absolutely true.
I've talked to a lot of families that have family members that were part of the January 6th. And they've got some, they were telling me some stories about how their family member got 30 years just for entering the Capitol. That's what they were sentenced to.
Hey, Ryan Zink, Jeff Zink's son, neither one of them went inside the Capitol. As a matter of fact, he was helping the police and taking video, took video of some of these criminals, and they deleted the videos and the pictures that he had.
Me and Ryan had a good talk, and I'll tell you what, you're right. And then
December 18th, he's being sentenced.
Yep, he's being sentenced December 18th, and now I know they're going after his dad too. So
didn't even go in the Capitol. It was a father and son just going and to redress their government.
Yeah, and he even
Doing
had
what they're
footage.
allowed to do.
Yeah, he even had footage that helped those guys, and they're still charging them.
Well,
And
that's
that's
why,
you
because
know,
the footage helped the righteous side.
yeah, it helped prove what really happened exactly. So yeah, and I'll tell you what.
And there's still, I had read a report today. I was talking with Jonathan earlier about it. There's, I believe it's a watchdog group, and I can't think of the name. I apologize for that to prop them up, but they say that we have no air marshals on the planes right now because all the air marshals are out chasing down all the people that flew in or near DC January 6th timeframe. So they're still out chasing down these people to arrest them for nothing. Unbelievable.
And we know what it's all about. I mean, they want to
Yeah.
definitely silence America. They want to go after anybody that is running for an office position. And I mean, look what they're still trying to do to Donald Trump every day. So I mean,
Every day.
that tells you exactly their motive, their plan, and they're not going to stop until the American people, as far as I'm concerned, says we've all had enough and we're done with you. So, and again, it's going to take the right people in power. We need to really see to it that Donald Trump ends up back in power.
Yes.
Because right now, without Trump, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know anybody else that can get the job done.
No, and you know what concerns me is the Trump light of Vivek. It's funny because he says all the same things that Trump says, but he wasn't even a Republican until recently. And actually, they've shown that he took money from the CCP.
Yep.
So, Trump is the only one that we can trust because he has proven his mettle. The rest of these, they talk, you don't know who they're beholden to. You don't.
Amen. And Tina, there's another man that worked without a paycheck, Donald Trump.
That's right.
He didn't want the money. He wasn't in this for the money.
That's right.
And like all of us, we're in this for America, not for the money.
I haven't gotten a paycheck since January 10th.
That's
when
right.
when my term ended. As a matter of fact, I've spent all my money on my defense, but you know what? You can't take it with you, and I believe that God will repay. There's,
Amen. Well, it's funny. Every time we do a fundraising thing on my page for the border and stuff, I get some smart butt out there that's going, "Oh, he's begging for money," and it's like, well, if you guys ever had any clue what we all spend out of our pocket fighting for America, you would absolutely be astonished. This year alone, I've spent out of my own pocket, Tina, and this ain't exaggerating, $38,000 just from the border. That's out of my pocket. Nobody's paying me for this.
I know.
And I've got the receipts to back it.
Yep.
But, between that, all going across country to Tennessee, Vegas, San Diego, I mean, people don't realize this costs money.
That's right.
But you know what? If I was in it for the money, then I'm in it for the wrong reason.
That's
I'm
right.
in it for God, God, family, and country. That's why I do this. And I hope when I'm dead and gone, all the work I've done is going to make a difference for America. And that's what it's.
I think you're going to hear the words, "Well done, good and faithful servant, Jonathan."
Yeah. Well, I hope that's what I hear from God. Amen.
No doubt.
But Tina, what's your plans next? I've got to ask you, what are your plans next in this fight, and how can we get involved and help you as well?
Thank you. Well, my trial is scheduled in Mesa County, that's Grand Junction, Colorado, for February 7th. And right now, we've, like I said, the Capital Times Magazine just came out. If people can be made aware of what what the other side is doing to try to silence a whistleblower, no one would know what was inside those machines if it hadn't have been for what was done to preserve the election records that Jenna Griswold and the vendor Dominion Voting Systems were in there to delete. It would have been irretrievably lost. So I think that if they can get the word out, understand there's more things coming. I just want you to know that we're not done yet. There's more and more information coming out that they do not want people to know. But we have to get rid of the machines. You need to go to your commissioners and tell them to stop funding these machines. We can do the recount. We can do it by precinct. I know how to do it. We can stop certifying these elections. If you're on the canvas board and you need to not certify the election, do you know that Jenna Griswold made it illegal to not certify the elections, made it illegal not to have machines, made it illegal. She can override you if you don't certify the election. And also, if you criticize the election, you can be arrested. You can be charged. So here's the type of thing that people need to understand that's going on in our country is you've got to stand up, you've got to get involved. And I promise you there's many, many more of us than there are of them. And that's what's next for me. Every day for me is to be on shows like this. God picks somebody that doesn't like to be the center of attention, that doesn't like the limelight, to do this because I know where my strength comes from. It's not from myself. To continue to advocate and to draw people into the fight. That's what we need. We need other people to stand up and support and get involved. And so that's what that's what all I'm about. I'm
Right.
preparing for trial. I'm preparing. We just dropped this lawsuit for the violation of my First and 14th Amendment, because that is going to set a precedent for everybody that wants to call out when they see, when they're a whistleblower or they see fraud in the elections or anything else. We need to keep our voice. So that's what I do. I wake up every morning in the fight, ready to go. And somehow, at almost 70 years old, God gives me the energy to do this. And I'm very,
Amen.
very grateful. So get involved. Please get involved. You can
Well,
watch.
Tina, my famous words are God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers, and you're definitely one of God's warriors.
Well, I think there's a lot more of us out there
Yeah.
that need to come forward and realize. And you can stay up with me on
Yes.
my website, tinapeters.us. And I
And
just love the people of this country. I want us to stay free. And
Tina, I'd like to just tell everybody out there watching this today, go to Twitter, Janet Griswold, right?
it's her name's Jenna, Jena.
Jenna, Jena. So
Mm-hmm.
go to Jenna Griswold on Twitter. Look at her recent post about sorry, Tina. And I want you guys to really just express it to her. This is not tolerated, what she's doing. I mean, it's a complete attack, Tina. And just look at what she's doing to Tina Peters every day. I mean, it's nonstop. And we, the people, our voices need to be heard. And we need to start standing up for people like Tina Peters, and as well as Donald Trump and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Start speaking out, America. That's
Yeah.
what this is about. No,
Free speech while you have it.
This is about our freedom, our God-given right. People like Tina that came forward, and then they want to persecute her for getting the truth out to America. I mean, what kind of message is that? Where if we've got the right evidence in hand and we're trying to bring this to people, and they want to persecute the ones that are bringing the truth. I mean, God knows, Tina, I get attacked every day for bringing the truth about the border. And I know they want me silenced. So I can't imagine how much they want you silenced because of just the knowledge and everything that you have that was enough to just sink their whole world behind them.
Laura Logan said to me in the trailer for Selection Code. So those that haven't seen the movie Selection Code, you can watch it for free on my website. But she said, Tina, well, what if this cost your life? And I said, then I'll be with my son. You cannot be afraid. You cannot this is not our home. You cannot be afraid and let fear rule what you do. But it's not even people like Jenna Griswold, even as bad and as partisan and how she attacks freedom and tries to obscure the vote, it appears, and things like that, and calls people out saying the big lie. But look at my own county, the district attorney who spoke up at a hearing and accused me of recording from the audience a hearing, and I was found guilty on 2 charges, 2 misdemeanors, one last March and one last April, of lying to a judge and obstruction when they tried to go get that iPad. And there's nothing on it. There was never, I got accused and found guilty for lying to a judge saying I did not record anything. And there's nothing on the iPad. There was never anything recorded. The other thing is what they've done to go in and to my husband and steal my husband from me and all my VA benefits. They actually went in and had him sign divorce papers, which in a nursing home, which ended all of my, after we would have been married 35 years. I found out a month before. Just the onslaught. You have to be ready to not be afraid of what they'll do to you, because you know that you're on a righteous path, and those material things don't matter. But the DA prevented me from traveling to the premiere of my own movie, Selection Code, and said it was the most, I think he said it was the most troublesome or egregious travel request he'd ever received. Well, this is the same DA that let a guy with 26 pounds of fentanyl. You know what that does, Jonathan.
Exactly.
26 pounds of fentanyl off on probation, but wanted to charge $500,000 cash bond for me and calls me a flight risk.
Wow.
This is a Republican, a guy that ran as a Republican. Then you look at the commissioners that signed a 6-year extension to the Dominion contract and bought all new equipment when they took the equipment out that I exposed, saying that that 6 years extension till 2029.
Right.
And called me a sacrificial lamb, and that I wouldn't want to come back to one of their proceedings after what they were getting ready to do to me, and that was getting a search warrant to grab and arrest me. So, I just want people to understand that you can't be fearful, because when you step out, just like what Carrie Lake did and Donald Trump, it just exposed. I remember what Mike Lindell said to me when I was running for Secretary of State. He said, "Tina, if you win," he says, "that's great." He said, "but if you don't, that's even better, because it'll expose more of their fraud." So get out there, allow them to show who they really are, and that's how we're going to save our country.
Yep. Amen. Yeah, we're getting a couple comments here, Tina. I was just reading these. So Margaret Lewis just got to saying, "I just left Jenna Griswold a truthful message. She is a traitor." Well, Margaret, appreciate you watching our show today, and I 100% agree that this gal is nothing but a traitor. Tina is been very righteous. She has come forth and exposed what needed to be exposed, and they're attacking you, Tina. There's no way around it. They've got you targeted, and you know what? You've got our 100% support. We are going to fight for you. We're going to help reach out and make connections where they need to be made. And it's just enough gets to be enough. And God, I just shake my head. I can't believe the amount of corruption that we're witnessing right before our very eyes. It's so self-explanatory. You can see it, and it's corrupt. It's right there before you. And it's like, what does it take to shake America and wake them the hell up to go, yeah, okay, now I see it.
Yep. You be as vocal and visible as you can. That's the safest you will be, people. That's what General Flynn told me over 2 years ago. Tina, you be as vocal and visible as you can, because, you know, his attorney told him, don't say anything.
Yeah.
And, you know, so my attorneys know now that I'm just going to say, because, you know, the truth, if you tell the truth, you never have to worry about what you said.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
and people need to hear the truth. They need to hear what's going on. And shame on these people in Congress and in DC that are not coming out because they're afraid they'll lose, they'll get kicked off of their committees, or,
Amen.
you know, shame on you. God puts you in that position to, for such a time as this. Stand up, you
You know,
know.
Tina, I'll beat on both sides of the aisle, because you know it's the Republicans just as guilty as the Democrats anymore.
That's right.
It's like they say they're a fighter, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. They get in power. Next thing you know, they turn on us, we the people. They, you know, I've watched so many Republicans turn against us, Donald Trump, and it's like those are the people we got to focus on definitely getting out of office for starters. And
Mhm.
number two, again, the important thing is making sure that we're electing the proper people. And you know, when I interview people, I scroll back to their social history for 5, 10 years. I don't care. I go back. I
Mhm.
see where they stood for 5 years ago. I don't just determine on what they're saying here today. I go
That's right.
back on,
Yep.
you know,
That's good.
and then I question them on stuff. And if there's stuff that they were doing 3 years ago, even, and it was against us, the people, but now they're saying they're not going to do it, you know, you got to hit them with the important question. If you're doing it 3 years ago, why aren't you going to do it today? What changed your mind? And
Character is what you do when no one's looking.
exactly,
Character is what you
Hmm.
do when no one's looking. And
that's
and
right.
that's the thing, is that you have to be able to live transparently. You know, and that's all I was asking for with the elections, is just, let's just be transparent. What are you afraid of? You know,
Yeah,
what are you afraid of? You know, if you're hiding something, then you're afraid of bringing it to the light. And that's all we want to do, is we want to bring out, we want to be able to counter ballots out in the light. You know, the Supreme Court ruled on this, that not only should you be able to vote, but to know that your vote was counted,
right. Yep.
right? And so that's the thing that you
Yeah.
don't know when it goes into that black box. You just don't know that it's being, and obviously we know now that it's not being, that we've allowed vendors that have nefarious motives, and
That's
more
right.
is going to be coming out.
And
So Mojave County, our Mojave County supervisors just voted again to not allow hand counts.
yep.
And why can't we do that?
I have no words to
I
say.
mean,
I think,
I
Yeah.
mean, it,
There are no words to say. I mean,
at the
it
meeting
should
the
be,
other night,
everything should be
Steve,
hand count.
at the meeting the other night, the Republican meeting, they had one of the Republican guys sitting there saying he voted against it. And it's like, are you freaking kidding me? And I
Yeah.
could tell some of the people got upset about it. But at the same time, he had every reason in the book for why he chose not to do it at this time.
expose him, put him out there on the mic,
Yep.
take your mic up to him and ask him why.
Yep.
You know, these people need to be exposed. They're, you know, they're like roaches. You know, they scurry around and hide, and you know, and feed off of whatever benefit they're getting from this. You know,
Yep.
what's wrong with being transparent?
Well, Tina, it's like all of them. I mean, we've been trying to reach out to like Leo Biosucci and a few others, and it sounded like they're going to work with us and everything was going to be great. But when it came time, it's all of a sudden like it's like they all go silent on you.
Mm-hmm.
And and I can say that about the election stuff and everything else. The people that their voices should have been heard, they went silent on us. And it's like when are you guys going to get in the fight if you're really here for we the people?
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
when is Mojave County going to be insisting upon it, let alone the rest of the country, getting people involved and saying, hey, it's either you're going to fight with us or you're just going to be out of here. We're going to do everything we can to get you removed from power.
Put their names out. Put their names out. Expose them. You know.
And that's
Yeah.
why.
So was that a supervisor, Jonathan, that voted that?
That was
Was
yeah. I
that one of our supervisors you
believe
saw?
he is, Steve. I'll find out his name and I'll get it shared with
Yeah.
you. But he spoke out at the Republican
Okay.
Party meeting the other day, and it's just like, are you kidding me? Why would you not vote for this? So,
Yeah.
and he said it right there at the party's meeting. So,
Hmm.
but he had every excuse in the book for why not. And again, how's the job going to get done unless we got fighters in office?
Right.
Yep. So
what they're saying is Mojave County votes against illegally hand counting the 2024 election again.
yep.
It said
Yes.
illegally. Oh,
That's
goodness.
exactly what they did.
It voted 3-2 to throw out the idea. Let's see, Chairman Travis Lingenfelter and Supervisors Buster Johnson and Gene Bishop voted against.
Yep.
This is the second time that the board has considered moving from computer tabulation to a hand count after initially nixing the idea in August vote by the same vote. Oh, wow. Okay, so Borelli says that hand counting ballots is legal and can be done efficiently. I love Sonny Borelli. He is fighting. He says that oh my goodness, that counties don't have the authority to order full hand counts. This is criminal.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll put that link in.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah, let's see.
Perfect.
Let's see if I can get in the chat here. Chat. I don't see a chat that I can
I'm
get.
just really learning. I'm really learning my StreamYard, Tina. Otherwise, I'd be going in doing this myself.
I use, here we go. I use, and I might be able to share my screen. Let's see. Stop. No, I use Restream. It's similar to this. Let's see. I can share my screen. All right, let's see. Here we go. Here it is.
While you're doing that, Tina, to answer your question, Margaret Lewis, about Paul Gosar, Paul Gosar has gone very silent. We have not heard a word here. I'm going to share this. Hold on, Tina. There it is. But Paul Gosar has very much gone silent as well. We have not heard a peep from him. Me and my team have tried to reach out to him numerous times now, and him like Leo have both gone completely silent on us. So, and I will call him out on the show.
So the link is in the chat. Oh, hand counts are notorious inaccurate. Oh, that's so ridiculous. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Boy.
You know, Tina, again, these are supposed to be people that's supposed to be fighting for our county, fighting for our state, you know, and they're turning around and bowing on us.
Look at this. Borelli promised the Mojave County supervisors that Scottsdale divorce attorney Brian Blim, who has represented Carrie Lake in her failed attempts. Oh my goodness. They're having some great successes. So we can see the bias of this article. To overturn the results of Arizona's 2022 governor's race would represent them free of charge if they voted to do a hand count. And then, of course, you got the Arizona Supreme Court. So, you know, I wonder what these people are getting. Yeah. Interesting. So people can read this for themselves, but
hey Tina, up over here in the chat part on the page, can you share that link for the audience?
Sure. I think I did. Did it not show up on there?
I don't see the link.
Private chat. Oh, I'm in the private chat. Let's see if, oh yeah, here we go. Let's see, join the chat. Oh, I have to connect with my YouTube to do it. Let's see, I don't know. Allow. It might take more than what. Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, here we go. All right. And just understand this was, oh, this comment has failed to post to live border news for some reason.
It posted what?
It says it failed to. So I just sent it in our private chat. If you can just copy and paste it from our
Okay,
private.
why don't you send it right to me, and I'm going to share it right to here on the live feed.
All right. Let's see.
So let me see if I can. Yeah, here we go.
This is what we do. We persevere and then we get it done. We learn things that we didn't know how to do before to get the job done. So see, anybody can do this. This is what I want people to understand. Okay, I just sent it to you. Anybody can.
Got it?
Yep, I sent it to your.
Well, here, I'm going to go in and I'm going to put it under the comments so the viewing audience can read it.
Okay.
And my apologies again. I'm just learning the StreamYard. This is all brand new to me.
You know, I love it, Jonathan and Stephen, because you know what it does? It encourages people that they can do this too. I have learned things that I had to learn how to jump a car. I had to watch a YouTube video to learn how to, literally, because I've always had a husband or a son that could do those things. And now
Sure.
I have no one. And
there we go. I just shared it.
so you learn, and it's really good for your brain. It keeps you young. So you guys out there, learn new things.
Yeah. So it's
keeps
like
that
everything.
mind active.
Yeah, learn as we go. Just like the reporting. I do it all raw. We don't sit there. We don't try to cut and edit the videos. What comes out of our mouths, whether it's a mistake or not, we'll correct it if it's a mistake. But just like earlier when I said Tina tweeters, my apologies. I was curious Tina, did you have Twitter, not tweeters?
Yeah. Well, and I see some of the chats in here where they're angry about how they've persecuted me and prosecuted me. Use that anger, funnel that anger into something positive to get involved. And whether it's posting on Twitter or whether it's, whatever it is that you can start out and then start learning from there.
By the way, I want to say this real quick. Nanette pointed out a good point too. And I want to announce this. John Gillette, he was at that meeting as well. And he was actually the only one that voted for the signature ballots. So my hat's off to John Gillette. He's a
Yay. Yay, John.
So got to give applause where it's deserved.
That's right.
If you're watching today, John, appreciate you fighting for us.
Yeah.
But Tina, like I said, any way we can help, let us know. We're going to do everything we can to keep getting this message out to everybody and exposing the corruption. Are you going to be at the event coming up down in Tulare?
Is that the one December?
Yes.
I believe I am. I haven't. I have to let the court know if I'm going to travel, because I'm such a flight risk.
You are such a high risk traveler, Tina.
I mean, can you imagine with this hair how I just really can't blend in very well? So
I've been trying to reach out to Clay Clark and these guys. I was wanting to be a speaker down there and provide some video footage for these guys of the corruption on the border, plus this event we're doing with the sheriff down here in Cochise County. But I can't seem to reach any of them.
Yeah, well, people need to ask Clay. I spoke at the one in Las Vegas, but if people ask him to have me speak, I feel he will if enough people want me to.
Right.
I don't push my way in. I let God open the doors that He wants me to walk through.
Yeah, that's it. But I'd like to see at some of their events. I'd like to see them, whether it's me or somebody else, start showing some of the stuff happening on the borders, because people don't realize this affects our elections.
Yes, it does.
Let's take our elections back. This will be right up the alley with that, because the amount of illegals pouring in, like look at Kim Yeater over there, over where she lives. San Diego has had busload after busload of illegals pouring in, and they're giving these illegals the right to vote. All kinds of different crap
And
going
debit cards that are legal.
Yes.
And these are military aged men, and of course children, but military aged men that I think they're going to flip a switch and it's going to be a jihad. So you guys be prepared. Get your
Yes,
food.
it is exactly what's going to happen.
Be prepared. Don't be caught. The Bible says that we will not be caught unaware,
on.
that we
Amen.
will be, we will know the times and the seasons. So get yourself prepared, get your family prepared.
Yeah,
What are you going to do if there's no food on the shelves? What are you
that's
going to do if you can't reach someone by cell phone? What are you going to do if someone shows up at your house and wants to take what you have?
we've been preaching the choir about this for a couple of years now because we knew a couple of years back. I mean, you can go back as far as I've been posting. You'll see where I've been talking about the same exact stuff. Back then, people said I was nuts. Now people are starting to wake up and go, "Oh my God, it's happening."
Yeah,
And Tina, that's the important part as well. I want America to understand what we are seeing happening in Israel right now. America is next. You guys don't understand that it's coming right through our borders, and they're going to attack us from every corner. And I know,
it's true. It is
and
true.
and Border
Mhm.
Patrol knows it, law enforcement knows it, but the federal government doesn't seem to give a darn. It's
We've
like they're
got to
playing with
get
us.
we've got to get Trump. And here's the thing that I tell people. When I was running for Secretary of State and for Colorado GOP chair, they put out this. I hate to even use misinformation because that's been used so much by the left, but they put out this propaganda that said, "Oh, you can't vote for her. She might end up in prison, and then what's going to happen?" Well, I'm not in prison. I don't have any intention to go to prison, but if I did, well, then we'll deal with that then. But here's the thing, you've got to get behind President Trump. You cannot be voting for someone else, Vivek or whoever else is out there that are that are parading around. You can't vote for uh, uh, um, what's his name, Kennedy. You've got to vote for the man who has the experience, that knows who's who in the zoo. And you can't believe all this fear mongering that's out there that they're trying. That's why they're prosecuting him. They want you to believe that he's not a viable candidate. Vote for our President Trump,
Yep.
and don't waver. Just keep your eye on the ball.
Well, Tina, we're going to be live on the border starting Sunday night, and then we'll be broadcasting for several days down there. I'll be happy to share you the live feed and meeting with the sheriff down there. We're also going to be meeting with the Cattle Association. These ranchers are fed up with the amount of their cattle
Mm.
being slaughtered. I mean, the cartel is actually shooting the cattle, taking out a few chunks of meat and leaving the rest there to rot.
What
Um,
happened to hanging cattle rustlers? Isn't that still in the law?
Amen. That's I'd love to see it.
I
Because
mean,
and that's where these ranchers are at right now. These ranchers are ready to just start
yeah.
bearing upon them.
What about
And
the sheriffs? What are they doing? What about the posses, the militia that we are entitled to?
and I think we're going to be discussing that a lot with Mark Sheriff Mark down there. Mark,
Mhm.
what's his last name? Steve
Daniels. Daniels.
Daniels. Thank you.
Daniels.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Mark Daniels, we're going to be speaking with him. He's also going to be speaking with the Cattle Association. One of the problems we had in Arizona already was one of the ranchers did take the matter into his own hands, and he was actually sentenced to prison for defending and protecting his livestock and his family.
Put his name
Hmm.
out there. People need to support people like that.
Yep, and
That's
let
the
me
type
let me
of
see if I can
people.
find that real quick. Arizona rancher goes to prison for defending land. Let's see. Arizona rancher goes to prison for defending land.
Yeah, we need people behind that. Uh, get it to Ammon Bundy. Let him. I mean, he's a good example of when you stand up, and he's still fighting.
So here, Arizona rancher George Allen Kelly's murder charge right here, and it says The Arizona rancher accused of shooting and killing a Mexican national on his border property has had his first-degree murder charge downgraded to a second-degree one, a judge announced on Friday.
Well,
But still putting this guy through the ringer for protecting and defending his own ranch. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, illegal is illegal. These guys have no right to even be on our land, let alone in our country.
no. If they're breaking the law, they don't mean you well.
Yeah. So
So
it's like whatever happened to the right to protect and defend your family, your loved ones, your ranches, and they're trying to create that fear in the ranchers because they know these ranchers have had it.
yeah.
And I'm afraid we're going to start seeing a lot more of this because that's where these ranchers are at. And
We need to put things out there publicly so that people can be at those hearings. One thing that I heard was that a lot of these J6ers, when they go to court, there's nobody there. There's
yeah,
nobody there in the courtroom. It's like nobody even knows this is going on. And so we really need to do a better job, I think, Jonathan and Stephen, of putting out these these calls to action, because there's so many people out there that want to be involved, that want to just tell me what to do. There's people that will go out and do the charge, and then there's other people that just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
well, correct me if I'm wrong, Tina, but a lot of these hearings, I'm told, are closed hearings. They're not allowed to have people in the courtroom. And I don't. Are they doing yours as an open hearing or is it closed?
It's open. It'll be, yeah, they'll have somebody they'll have one person from the press in there, and yeah, it's open.
So anybody from the public can come right on in as well?
That's right.
Okay. Yep. I've been told with a lot of these January 6ers, that's not the case. So these are supposed to be closed hearings.
Really?
They're not even allowed to have reporters in the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
So
wow.
I've got to do more research to see how valid that is, but that's what I'm being.
Yeah. We need to stand up for those that are being persecuted.
Amen.
Yeah. Thank you for getting the word out, Stephen. Yep. Thank you for
You're welcome.
your family and your service, and thank you to all the veterans out there, those that have served in the military. I see now that they're asking for unvaccinated military members to come back. And yeah.
Well,
the destruction of our military started back when Clinton was in office. It's been going on for 20 plus years.
Oh, easy.
And it's finally got to where it's at now,
right.
Which is just pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Get rid of all the soldiers that are real soldiers and keep all the freaks that are in there that are freaks. Right. And that's where we're at. But it's been happening for a couple of decades. And I have personal information on that. I had an ex-sister-in-law who was in the military during that administration. And that's when it all changed. Everybody was given flashcards that say, oh, I'm stressing today. None of that disciplinary stuff occurred, and none of the camaraderie started to happen. And it all went away. It's all been fading away. And now look where we're at. We're full of
John Wayne would be rolling
freaks.
his
That's all I can call them. They're freaks. They're freaks. They
don't
fired
forget
all the good soldiers.
Don't forget their safe space corners they get to go to that have a timeout, Steve.
So let me tell you something else that not many people know. The transgender people in the military are exempt from deployment.
No kidding.
They are exempt from deployment.
Why?
Now, that's my question. Why? I mean, I kind of know why, but I'd like to hear their reason why. But yeah, I could not believe that. I read that recently. Transgenders in the military are exempt from deployment.
All right, get Trump in. We've got to get everybody to vote. 40% of Christians do not vote. Oh my gosh, are you serious? And the pastors out there, I'm calling out these pastors. You better be talking about this is good versus evil. This is not political, so stop it with that.
Absolutely. Well, Tina, I've been telling everybody the same thing. Plus, I'm also telling people, come voting time, if you know your senior citizens next door, if they can't get out, go offer them a ride down to the voting booth. I don't care if you got
Yeah.
to wheelchair ride in or voting. Get them in and
Good
out.
idea.
I mean, we've got to, as Americans, stand up and help out our seniors that aren't able to get out, because a lot of them just assume, well, there's enough of us that's going to vote. It's not, or whatever. Every vote counts. I 100% agree.
I've got a story that reminds me of. So in 2016, when I was walking door to door and just, I remember I was sitting in the car waiting for my partner, who I had taken one side of the street and he'd taken another one, and he was taking a while. And so I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I better clear out the back seat, because I think something's getting ready to happen. He brought this woman, bless her heart, and it was about 30 minutes before the polls closed. And he put her in the car and we took her to the polls. He stayed with her while I went back out and kept walking and talking to people. But she said, oh, God bless you. I was so afraid I was not going to be able to get out to vote. That one vote. I mean, it's just, every vote should count, and not a vote more than just every eligible vote should count.
That's why we've got to help out our seniors and disabled people that aren't able to get out. And this is on all of us. All of us need to get out there and volunteer to make sure everybody can vote, and just give them that right.
That's eligible to vote.
Amen. Eligible to vote. Amen. Well, guys, we've been on here, believe it or not, an hour and 26 minutes. I know me and you, Steve, have got to get things ready for the border. We'll be back here live on Sunday in Cochise County, and be live on Monday as well with the sheriff. And hopefully it won't be quite as hoarse. It's been a long week again. Mm-hmm. And Tina, I appreciate you coming on such a short notice. I want y'all to help Tina out by going to tinapeters.com, correct?
tinapeters.us. Just remember my name and then the United States. And I'm getting ready to have Jeff O'Donnell on, because he's going to talk about also more evidence of the fraud. And people need to know, and you need to pass it around for those naysayers. Those the big lie people need to face.
Hey guys, give me 1 second. This is Senator Hart. Let me just tell him we're ending this. Hi, Senator.
Hey, how are you?
We're live on the air right now with Tina Peters. And
hey, Senator.
Oh, she just said hi. So,
how are you, Tina?
Can you hear him, Tina?
I can.
Yes, how are you?
Thank you for what you're doing. God bless you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for getting the message out to people on your end.
So, all right. Let me call you right back in about 5 minutes. We're just ending this broadcast.
Okay, we'll do that. Thanks.
All right.
Okay. You guys watch my shows. I'm having some great people on. I just had Dr. David Clements on. He is coming out with a new movie, a documentary that is raw. I mean to tell you, it is raw. It gets down to the real nitty gritty on how they're the theft of our nation. So please,
Tina, is that something you can share on my Facebook?
It's called Let My People Go. There's a 9-minute trailer. There's a 9. I never get on Facebook. I'm so bad with that because of Zuckerberg. But I'll put it in the chat. There's a 9-minute trailer, and it's coming out. It's been shown a couple different places. It's a 2-hour documentary, and it hits it hard. So I want to just put that out there for everybody to please support.
Yeah, you bet. So go support Tina Peters. If you guys can make a donation, she could use all the help she can get through this fight. And Stephen Thomas, loadedguncoffee.com. If you'd like to get out there and check out his website, get on there. He's got the best coffee around, guys. And Stephen, I just love everything you're doing. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
And
God bless you guys.
Stephen's got a grand opening. I think it's December. Is it the 15th?
We're shooting for December 10th. Our 13th, I'm sorry, Wednesday, December 13th. We're rebranding our brick and mortar store under our new logo. So we're closed right now until those dates. And we're doing a complete remodel and refresh and rebrand. So we're looking forward to that.
So that's your coffee house out there in Lake Havasu.
In Lake Havasu, that's right.
Right.
So we'll be
people,
posting stuff about that when we're getting closer to that date.
right, but people can still go online and order your coffee now.
Absolutely. The website is live, and we've got a lot of great other products on there for sale that all help support this cause.
Yep. I appreciate all you do, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, Steve. Hey,
Tina,
listen, Julie
well,
Anthony, did you see what she said on the Facebook Live? Our
No,
BOS being threatened with a felony if they go against the Secretary of State. We in Mojave County want to hand count our ballots. Well, let me just tell you, they can threaten a felony, but they're not going to be able to. That's not going to be able to stand.
You know what? The guy that voted, that spoke out, that went against it. That's what he said. He didn't vote because he could be charged with a felony. Again, you're backing down to the enemy. You know,
Fear.
Yeah.
it's fear, and that's how they want to control us, is with fear.
Threats.
As far as I'm concerned, the American people need to quit living in fear, get off their butts, and help us get the job done.
That's right.
Yes.
No fear.
So
Yes.
if I lived in fear, I sure the hell wouldn't be going to the border reporting, knowing my life could be taken at any time.
That's right.
I sure the heck wouldn't be speaking out the way I do because I'd be worried about the government coming after me. I really don't care about any of it. I'm going to fight until my last breath is drawn, and I'm going to continue to fight and support people like you, Tina, whether the government likes it or not. They can all kiss my butt. There.
And there.
Because right now we're all in a fight of our lives, is the way I see it. And it's either now or we let this country sink. And I'd be damned if I'm going to sit back and watch this country go under.
Yep, that's right. Everybody can do something. They can't get us all. That's what I always say. Everybody can do something.
You got to reach within.
That's right.
Pull it out.
There's more of us than
you got to reach within and pull that out.
That's right. There's more of us than there are them. They won't. Right. If more and more people get involved, they won't have clear aim on where to shoot. So we need more people involved. God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Tina.
Thank you.
Love all you guys. Appreciate you guys always standing by everything we do as well. Thank you. So,
all right. Cheers.
All right, guys. Jonathan Alexander, Live Border News. Appreciate having you guys on the show. God bless all you patriots out there for watching today.